May I have your attention, please?
Welcome to Real Gaijin, unveiling the real Japan, an American expat's inside look. Now it's time for another story from the Read My Lips series of podcasts. Summarized podcast.
All right. In Japan, the political rhetoric regarding immigration shows little sign of letting up. Yet one perspective is often missing from the entire debate, and that's the voice of essential workers on the front lines in many arenas, particularly in the care facilities across the country where many nurses and clinical nurse assistants or CNAs work. Well, today we are very lucky because we are going to be joined by a special guest who is actually working on the front lines of a nursing home in Osaka. And this is Anna, who is a registered nurse from the Philippines. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, well, it's great that you're here. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to cover a wide variety of questions, but Anna is going to tell us all about her story and then also give us her perspective of what it's really like to be working on the front lines in Japan. Just a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, this is supposed to be a live chat session. So if you have a question, please put your questions in the chat and we will answer them as we go. I hope that is visible on screen. Also, the recording of this interview will be out within 24 hours. So just give me a few hours to get that done. All right, without further ado, first of all, Anna, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a registered nurse in the Philippines, and then ultimately, what was your pathway to Japan?
Mhm. So, hi everyone. I'm Anna from the Philippines. I am a registered nurse in the Philippines, and then I came here to Japan to work as a care worker. Um, and so I graduated from college in 2011 in a university in the Philippines. I took 4 years nursing course, and then I passed the nursing exam. Um, I didn't work professionally as a nurse in the Philippines. The reason I took my course was just, indecisiveness. um, yeah, during that time, and I believe it's true until this time that nursing is a popular course in the Philippines.
Mm,
I believe the biggest or the largest resource of the Philippines is their own people. So, the term OFWs, overseas Filipino workers.
yeah.
So, especially during my stay in the university, that was the most popular course to take because, well, honestly, a lot of us plan to work abroad. Um, well, after having worked in the Philippines, eventually we plan to work abroad because, honestly speaking, the pay for nurses in the Philippines is quite low. So, yeah, you um, that's like how can I say it? Um, well, of course, you have to earn money and to give back to your parents. That's the culture there. So a lot of us decided to take the nursing during college. Yeah, so that's how I arrived.
Well,
Um,
how did you want to go to Japan as opposed to somewhere else?
mm, well, yeah, so after having passed my nursing exam, well, I worked um I worked as a English tutor um for a Japanese company.
Ah,
So, yeah, I worked home based. So I taught Japanese students, from children to, to older people, working people, online.
I
Um,
see.
First, it
And
was
were
through
you
Skype.
did you study Japanese in the Philippines or only since you
No, when I was when I was work when I was working as an English tutor, you don't need to study Japanese in order to teach English online. But, you know, I as I talked with a lot of students, I got to know about their culture, about Japan, and my interest in Japan grew. And so naturally I wanted to learn the language too so that I can use it while I was teaching English, and just for my other interests as well, like anime and stuff. Yeah.
okay, I
Mhm.
see. So you had an interest in Japan, and then you were interacting with Japanese people. Then how did you home in on the particular location in Osaka, or maybe before that, the specified skilled worker system? How did you get
Mm.
enrolled in that?
So before the pandemic started, me and my family, we got the opportunity to travel in Japan,
Oh,
mainly in Kansai, Nara, Osaka, and Kyoto.
oh,
Yeah. And I remember the first time I've been to Osaka, I was so how can you say it? Like, I felt that I wanted to live here for a long time.
ah,
And it's I felt that this could be home, you know? The first time you go to Japan, I think a lot of people um have felt that. So yeah, when we got back to the Philippines, I started looking actively for ways to enter Japan with my degree, and I started to also seriously learn the language,
ah.
and then that's when the EPA
Hmm.
opportunity came to be. Yeah.
What exactly is that, the EPA?
hmm So EPA it stands for Economic Partnership Agreement. So it's a partnership between Japan and participating countries. So the EPA program for care workers and nurses, we they are in partnership with three countries: Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines. So within that partnership, they employ about 200 or 300 care workers, and then 100 nurses every year. And they provide free Japanese language training in their own country, and or 6 months preparatory language training in their own country, and another 6 months um training in Japan upon arrival. And then they match you with an employer, and yeah, after that training, you go to your respective companies or hospitals or facilities. Then you work for around 3 years as a
Okay.
care worker candidate. And after working for 3 years, you're now eligible to take the care worker licensure exam. So the end goal of the EPA is to obtain licensure or obtain your license, your professional license as a nurse or a care worker in Japan. So their support um, is continuous even while you're working. You are also working full time, and you're also studying full time. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a great program. And Anna, in your case, what was the timeline? So when did you actually get accepted for this specified skilled worker program in the Philippines, get started, and then when did you arrive in Japan?
Hmm. So I applied in the program 2020, October 2020, I believe, or December 2020, so, around that time. And then, so I had my language training in the Philippines for around 6 months.
Mhm.
Then I entered Japan October 2021.
Wow, in the height of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. That's the most fortunate thing that happened to me during the pandemic. Yeah, I didn't expect like I would be employed. I would be working abroad when everything was shut down. So that yeah, that was very, very fortunate, very blessed to have that opportunity. And then so October 2021. And then for 4 months I had caregiving and Japanese language training in Yokohama. So there's like a training center there.
I see.
Everyone lives there. It's like a hotel, but everything's provided. Like there's free food and you don't need to pay anything. And you get allowance in return.
Oh my.
Yeah, so you just have to study
Okay.
for yeah, you just have to study. And that's for 4 months. Usually it's for 6 months, but
Hmm.
because of the pandemic, the previous batch got delayed. The previous batch of people who
Hmm.
were supposed to get Japan got delayed. So there was a lack of um candidates who will work in their respective facilities. So they shortened the time so we can actually go to the facilities and work. So I arrived in my facility February 2021. By the way, when I say facility, that's my current place of work. That's an elderly care facility.
And that's in
So
Osaka.
that's in Osaka, yes. So I
And will
arrived.
you choose where you go, or they just assigned you?
I can choose where I go. So
Oh,
yeah, so during the application period, you are given basically all the company's profiles, like PR PR files. So you can see what's their job offer, what kind of working environment is there, what can you expect, what are the working hours. So you have to read each and every one. Then you list your top 20
ah,
companies you would like to work to. And then when you submit that list, um, now it's the employer's turn to list the candidates um, whom they want to work for them. So out of these candidates, they rank them. So then there's a matching process um, that will happen, and then we get to match with our present employer.
all right. And then before being selected by your current employer, and I'm not surprised that they selected you because you sound very diligent, were you able to go see the facility for yourself, or was this just all done, you know, from distance correspondence?
Yeah, just online. Just online.
Oh,
Um, mm, there's the name of this facility. There's the name and the address. So I just, hopped onto Google Maps and yeah,
okay, that'll do. All right. Very interesting. And
yeah,
then, so you got started working, but while you were working there, then you began to study for this national care workers exam?
yeah, I did. um, we actually start studying for it while even still in the Philippines because
Oh,
Japanese language is a big part of it. The whole exam is in Japanese. So
mhm.
imagine I used to compare it to the nursing licensure exam in the Philippines. It's like that, but all Japanese. So
Mm, very
yeah.
hard.
So we study for it for 3 years or more.
Wow. Isn't that's an amazing commitment that you have made? And I'm just curious, first, it's one option for clinical nursing assistants, like how you got started in Osaka, would be to not take the national workers exam and then simply go home at the end of the visa period. Is that correct?
hmm So, well, I have a lot of batchmates who didn't take the exam. Like they just like they've already went home because
Mm,
like their backs are already aching or there's an issue in the family. So yeah, you have the option to go home and not take the exam. But then that would be, you know, a missed opportunity because
yeah.
you need the minimum 3-year work experience for you to be eligible to take the exam.
Mm, oh, I see. Okay, so chicken and or egg situation. And then now, of course, you passed the exam not too long ago, correct?
Yeah, I passed last year. Yes.
Great, congratulations. And by achieving this goal, the passing the national care workers exam, how did that change your legal status or your visa status in Japan?
Mhm. So, as an EPA candidate, I entered Japan with a Tokute Katsudo visa,
Mm,
which is a designated activities visa, which is renewable every year. So you have to go to the immigration every year to renew your license. But then after having passed the exam, I now have a Kaigo visa, which is a
mm.
nursing care visa. And when I changed my resident status, now it's for 3 years. So
Okay.
yeah,
And you can simply renew this.
that's right. As long as I have an employer, I can keep renewing my visa.
Ah, that's a key point, though. So, what if you don't have an employer? Then what happens?
Well, I can go back to can go back to the Philippines and well, I guess I hope find an employer and then I can anytime go back to Japan. Yeah, just
Okay.
for work. It's just for work. And I can't use my visa to, you know, tour, for example.
Sure. And
Mm.
while you're in, because the visa is tied to your employment, are you able to switch locations where you work to a different employer or not?
Yeah, you can. Yes. I've known some people who, after having passed the exam, they've already, you know, worked for a different employer. Mhm.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, that is quite an achievement. I mean, can you imagine? Well, you you did it, but I mean, coming to a foreign country to work, learn the language while working as a nurse, essentially, in and then passing this very difficult exam that you're spending 3 years studying for. I mean, that is a major achievement and a major commitment of time and effort.
Mm.
So, I hope that's well recognized by your facility. After achieving this goal, for example, were you given an increase in compensation or some sort of a bonus?
Mhm. Yes. So, I have received a salary increase
Oh, good.
um thanks to my company. And yeah, what else? Like, just not having to renew your visa
Mm,
every year, that's a big plus.
yeah.
Um yeah. salary increase, and then what else? And I
Really?
have to note though that with the Kaigo visa and under the and with the help of the EPA program, if you pass the care worker exam, you can invite your spouse to live with you and
Oh,
your children. So
oh,
um yeah,
that's a
the can
major
they
advantage.
can live.
Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. That's a big benefit.
Mhm.
Interesting. Well, this is fascinating. We might get a question about this. In any case, I'd like to switch gears just a little bit to put a little context around what exactly you do. Maybe you could walk us through a typical day at your
Mhm.
facility.
Mhm. Okay. So yeah, well, as with working with in a hospital or any elderly care facility, we work in shifts. So there's the day shift, the noon shift, the PM shift, or the graveyard shift. So what you do depends on the time of course, enter the facility. So, um, well, during the day, a lot of course, the activities of daily living revolves around the daytime. So I help with shokuji kaijo mealtime assistance. So for people who cannot eat by themselves, you pre- you serve the food. Well, we don't cook the food; we serve the food. Um, you feed them if they can't feed themselves. Also, with just transporting them um, and lifting them when when they when they go to lay down. If they can lay down by themselves, you have to carry them. You have to also sit them at the wheelchair if they can do it by themselves, or um haisetsu kaijo also, excretion as assistance. So
Yeah.
um you change diapers if they're using diapers, or you help them sit in the toilet, or of course help them to clean.
Bathing.
um yeah, bathing also, that's right. And what else? mm,
Or the actual administration of medicine, that would be done by the nurse that's working with you?
okay, so for the medicine, the nurses, they group the medicines. That's their work. And then we give the medicines. So I'm
Oh,
allowed to give medicines orally, also, like, ointments and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, but I don't give like intravenous stuff because we don't have that in our facility anyway.
great.
So yeah, that I can give medicine. And then aside from the ADL stuff, um, I'm also responsible for for writing, recording what
Ah,
happened. Yeah, what happened to the patient, to the elderly person. Um, I also contact the families if something happened, or if there's an accident, or if they have some if they need something. I also participate in like care worker meetings where we discuss the care plan of the patient if it needs updating or something. Um, if there's an emergency, I go with the patient. I ride in the ambulance, and then um, I I endorse to the hospital what happened to the patients and
oh,
stuff.
I see. So if there's an emergency where they need to be hospitalized, an ambulance would come to your care facility, pick the patient up together with you, and then you'd ride to the hospital.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh. And how many patients are you responsible for during your 8-hour shifts?
Mhm. So in my facility, in my floor, um, it's divided into 2 units. So each unit has 10.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So 20 patients all in all.
You're responsible for 20 patients at one time.
At one time, I'm responsible for 10.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, things get busy. You're also expected to, ano, to manage the other 10. So we help each other out. Yeah.
Ah, and is that patient to clinical nurse assistant ratio consistent with what your friends at other facilities experience, or is that high, low?
hmm So each facility is different. Um, I work in an elderly care facility. Um, it's a specialized home care facility. And my other batchmates, they work in like bigger setups. So there's like in one room there would be 4 people, for example. So I'm not sure how specific is it, but um I heard from one friend of mine, um in her shift she would just do bathing assistance for 50 people in one day.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so very interesting. Where you're doing a wide variety of activities and caregiving, other facilities that are larger might specify specific jobs on a particular day, but then
That's
a large
right.
number of patients.
Yeah,
Oh, very interesting. Different way of doing it. And by the way, are you responsible for patients with dementia or in, like memory care?
I do. Yes. Our a lot of our not patients, but a lot of our we call it users in our world. We call our customers users. So not necessarily patients, but we call our users. A lot of our users have dementia. Um, and second would be people with paralysis
Uh,
because as a result of having a stroke. And then next would be people who are bedridden just because of old age. Yeah, that's
that's
mm,
that is that must be very challenging. Speaking of old age, I mean, Japan is famous for having such a large elderly population. What is the range of ages of your users or patients?
mhm. I believe it's from 70 to 100 and up.
100 and up. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
you've had several centenarians. Okay.
We are. Yeah.
Oh my.
Mhm.
Huh. That's great. And hey, I'd like to jump to how are your users, patients for the rest of the world here, view you. I mean, I mentioned they're grateful for your service and like to be able to communicate with you in Japanese, but you're probably doing this work together with Japanese national clinical nurse assistants and nurses. Are you treated the same way?
Mhm. Do you mean by our patients?
Yes, by your users or patients. Yes.
Mhm.
How do
Yeah.
they see you?
Well, I don't really well, speaking about our patients, I don't think they really view us differently as foreigners.
Good.
I don't think they're not I don't think they're even aware that we're foreigners, like, because they're already old. So um I don't think they have that kind of awareness already. Yeah. So I haven't experienced, being treated differently um by our patients because I'm
Well,
a
that's great
foreigner.
to learn. That's great. That's the way it should
Mhm.
be, I imagine. How about by their families?
Oh, by their families. Wow, that's a different thing. Well, yeah, it really depends on the family though, but I sometimes sense that they would look for a Japanese staff first,
Mm,
because it's easier that way.
mm.
Yeah, if they have a concern or, they can explain it in their own natural way, uh, um compared to us foreigners. Yeah. But
But
yeah, but
mm, yeah, you see
um
this over and over again, though, probably.
I'm sorry.
Do you see the same family members visiting over and over again?
Yeah, I see them like every 2 months or so. Yeah.
Okay, and so they must get used to seeing you and,
Mm-hmm.
corresponding with you. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that's great. And, all right, well, I'm curious about that. How about your interaction with your Japanese national colleagues? So your
Mm-hmm.
other the nurses that are working there and also the other clinical nurse assistants or CNAs that are Japanese.
Mm-hmm. I think they're used to us. um because in our facility, at least 70% are foreign care workers, I think.
Oh my goodness. Oh, very interesting. And
I
where are they from?
well, a big number is from Indonesia and the Philippines,
Mhm.
and then a few of them are from Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. And
So
is that
I
at your friends' facilities, the other locations that some of your friends from school are at?
well, I've heard that also in their workplace there are many foreign care workers. Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. Okay. And I wonder if that varies by geography. For example, you're in a big city in Osaka. Maybe that's just more common for foreign caregivers to work there, but in the countryside, maybe it's different. Do you know anything about that?
I believe so. One friend of mine, she's working in Gifu,
Hmm,
and they're like just two Filipino care workers there. Just two. Just them.
okay. And how do you get along with your Japanese colleagues?
Oh, with my floor mates, like in the
Yes.
same unit as I. Yeah, they're very nice. They help me when I don't understand something. Um yeah, they're just very friendly. Yeah.
Good. And to the, level that you're aware of, are you treated the same way by your employer regardless of your nationality? In other words, is your compensation the same for the same amount of work?
Mhm. So actually in the EPA program, we receive like a guideline book. And in that guideline book, it says that um EPA care worker candidates should have the same compensation as Japanese um, counterparts.
Mm,
So yeah, in the present, well, I actually don't know because we don't talk about our salary openly with each other. Even with my Filipino care workers, you know we don't actually talk about our numbers. But what I know is that our basic salary is the same as
mm,
the Japanese, and it would only differ with the allowances or the teate with the qualifications that you possess. So
okay. So it's entirely merit based and performance based.
that's right. Yeah, if you like, for example, if you passed the exam, or how long have you been in the
Mm,
company, for example. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, that's ideally the way it should be, which is, I'm
Mhm.
glad you're that way. Very good. And how about the relationship with your immediate supervisor or boss. Well, who would that be? Is this like the head nurse on the floor?
Immediate supervisor would be, well, my team leader.
Yeah. Okay. You're a team
Mhm.
leader. Is this a team leader of other clinical nursing assistants
Mm,
or a head nurse?
yes, the team leader is also a care worker in the facility.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. And then that person reports into whom? To the head nurse on the floor?
Not well, we don't well, in our, like, how can you call it? The organization chart, um, we don't really, um, answer to the head nurse, like, it's
Oh,
the head nurse supervises the other nurses,
I got
and
it.
yeah, the care workers, um, are directly supervised by the other care workers.
I
Mm,
understand. Oh,
yeah.
interesting. How about your interactions, though, with the nurses that are assigned to your unit? I mean, you must have to communicate with them frequently.
Mhm. Yeah, well, we talk about, you know, uh, we use medical terminology when talking with them, and yeah, so sometimes it's hard because, of course, they're used to, like, um really difficult Japanese medical terminology. So sometimes when I don't know, I say, "Can you can you say it um in a more simple way?" Or I use my dictionary.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, so far um talking with them, yeah, it's okay. They're friendly. Yeah. Mm.
How about the interaction with physicians, with doctors?
Oh, doctors. We we don't really talk directly with the doctors. The nurses talk with the doctors, and the nurses talk with us.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, this is fascinating. Thank you for sharing all that
Mm.
information about what you do every day. I'd like to take a step back and talk a little bit more about, well, not only your personal future plans, but uh, the whole issue around immigration. And first of all, are you planning to essentially continue indefinitely working at your facility in Japan, or do you have plans to go to the Philippines or another country?
Mhm. I wish I could give you a more definite answer, but yeah, now I think I would just like to keep continuing my employment here
Sure.
because, yeah, because honestly, um, as much as I would like to, um, go back to the Philippines because it's more, you know, um, it's more comfortable there,
Hmm.
with regards to interacting with people. It's more comfortable there. Um, but the Philippines now is not holding a very viable option for employment. So it would benefit me more, I believe, to just to stay here and continue working and hopefully get permanent residency, or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I hope.
that's it. You mentioned that. So y- I understand. I mean, you're still young and you're still balancing, and you're not exactly sure what your future will hold. But one option would be to remain in Japan forever with permanent residency. Yeah, I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. And well, I'm very appreciative of our company because they would
Hmm.
provide assistance with application, and yeah, if
That's good. I'm sure you probably have been reading in the news, and in terms of the permanent residency approval, unfortunately, the the cost of applying is going to go way up from something like 1万円 or 10,000 yen to 30 times that amount. But your employer would be willing to fund some of that or all of that, right?
Actually, no. I would have to fund everything.
Ooh.
They would um help with the paperwork, but with
Mm.
the cost, I would have to shoulder everything.
Oh my. So yeah, I mean, there are certainly arguments in favor of raising the fees for that particular application because, at least globally, compared to other countries, it's been artificially low. You can make that argument. On the other hand, Japan really needs people like you, Anna, to make it more difficult, even from a financial point of view, seems a little counterintuitive. But what do you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, I get it that, the whole argument that it's their country, they can do whatever they want. And yeah, I recognize that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But also, I think, um, I think it's fair that we also consider how much are the care workers or the nurses earning, and is it um is the price hike or the hike in the rates of renewal or change of status of residence, is it justifiable compared considering the, well, how low actually the salary is.
That is a fascinating point, and I had not considered that. That's right, because in the current system, at least you don't have to renew your visa every 1 year anymore, but it's every 3 years. And even that fee is going up quite a bit. Um, Whoa, that's a very good point. It's basically a flat fee no matter what your level of compensation is.
Mhm. And a lot of the care workers who are currently working have 1-year visas. Yeah, and without having passed the examination yet, their salary remains low. So if they have to renew every year, then that, you know, that's a hefty sum.
That's a good point. Oof,
Mhm.
I had not thought of that. Say, what about overall? I mean, there's this whole ongoing debate about the loaded term immigration that has all sorts of this cultural baggage associated with it. I mean, this is a case everywhere in the world, but in Japan, the government seems to go out of its way to not use this word immigration because it implies allowing people like us to move here and stay here forever, as opposed to having some sort of a temporary time frame for foreigners to live in Japan. What do you think about that?
Mhm. Well, in as a Filipino care worker, um, I have the choice to work in other countries if I wanted to, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, in the UK or the US or even in my whole home country. I think politicians or the government should look to should should consider in a should see or consider immigration in a different light. Like, immigration does not only benefit foreigners, but it can also benefit Japanese people, specifically in my case, you know, older people who need care because, you know, if you take out the foreign workers, then who would care for them? Especially that, you know, just in my facility alone, it's like, let's say a conservative 60% are care workers. Um, and I don't think I've seen a new Japanese care worker enter our facility. No, in my 4 years, no, I don't think.
Oh, in 4 years? Wow. That is a very important point.
Mm,
Plus, it's not as though I mean, you say that you can go find a job in another country. Well, that's easier said than done. I'm sure you could do that, but you have now spent many years here diligently learning Japanese, learning, to be even better at your job in Japanese, record data in Japanese, interact with your users or patients and their families in Japanese. That's a major commitment, and it's not something that you can just throw away easily, in my opinion, but
mm,
that's interesting you have that perspective. By the way, what about your nursing degree from the Philippines? That essentially doesn't translate directly into becoming a nurse in Japan, right?
no, I'm not considered as a nurse here. Yeah.
So have you thought about going to Japanese nursing school while you're working in order to obtain a Japanese nursing degree?
No, I'm done studying.
I'm not okay. No, no. Okay. All right. Okay. I see. No problem. All right. Very good.
Mm,
Well, it sounds though like you're being kept very busy what you're doing with your 8 hour shifts here and there. But you still get a little bit of time off. You told me before you have like 9 days off during the month.
yeah, so during my days off, if I'm not doing my laundry or if I'm not if I'm not doing house chores, yeah, sometimes I go outside and I like photography. I like
Ah,
going to museums. Yeah.
very good. Wow. And some of your shifts, so if you're on an 8 hour shift system, every once in a while you probably have to do back to back shifts, right?
That's right. So depending on the number of people, I go to work like 6 days straight.
Ooh, okay. I
Yeah.
understand. That's tough. Also, getting back to the bigger picture here, and you kind of touched on it a minute ago about wanting to be a little bit more recognized for your contributions by Japanese people. From your perspective, what do you think the policymakers, the people in government that are deciding the parameters of these programs, what do you think they are misunderstanding about what's actually happening in care facilities for the elderly in Japan right now?
What their misunderstanding is. That's a tough question. Um. Well, what? Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
I touched on it a minute ago, saying in the 4 years you've been doing this job, there hasn't
Mm.
been one new Japanese clinical nursing assistant join your team. That
That's right.
says a lot. That means there's not enough supply of this
That's
skilled
right.
labor.
Yeah. Um. I I think um young Japanese people, they don't want to do this kind of work. So a lot of them are not well, I don't see a lot of them entering the the care worker field that often. So a lot of the heavy lifting is done by foreign care workers. And
Yeah,
yeah.
and when you say heavy lifting, that's not just the proverbial sense, that's the actual sense, right? You literally probably have to do a lot of heavy lifting of your users or patients during the day, right? To move them
Mm,
around.
that's right. Yeah. Um with the recent talks of AI and stuff like that, um care working is one of those industries where I think AI mm, would not uh AI is not of that much use, I think. It's kind of difficult to imagine AI, you know, cleaning
Mm,
or cleaning or feeding people.
yeah.
So it's a very hands-on type of work. So
That's a
mhm,
strong message. I get the sense that AI solutions, quote unquote solutions, are thrown around a little bit too easily.
mhm, mhm,
And you're right. This
mhm,
is a lot easier said than done. Now, maybe there will be some advancements made in the future,
mhm,
but the
mhm,
core elements of what you do sound pretty hands on.
mhm. And even with robots and existing machines that we use, we have them, we use them, but given the lack of workers, it's just easier to do it by yourself. I wouldn't fumble with with lifting machines and stuff because there's so much stuff to do for just one person. So it's
Yeah, you have
easier.
a heavy load of
Mm,
people. Well, plus, I mean, as a potential patient or user in the future, after getting older, I mean, I would rather a human being take care of me than a robot, but uh,
mm,
that's a whole nother discussion, I imagine.
mhm.
What do you think? I mean, just the fact that you have no new Japanese colleagues in 4 years, that's such a major statement. What do you think is going to happen to the care system in Japan in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think if they don't do any major change, that Japan has no choice but to keep um keep letting in foreign workers to fill the need. I know that there's a strong anti-foreigner sentiment happening,
Mm,
but the population, a big part of the population is the elderly population. It's kind of funny because they don't call it elderly population, it's the super elderly population.
mm, good
So
point.
yeah, if they don't do any major changes, then they have no choice but to let
Mm,
foreign workers in because they they don't want to do that kind of work. Hmm.
wow, that's a powerful statement. By the way, to the greatest extent of your knowledge on this subject, have more and more eligible candidates for this EPA program been accepted year over year, or is it still around 3 or 400?
Mm. They limit it to that number every
Oh,
year. Yeah, I would imagine if they increase the number of candidates that they can accept, then the Philippines can easily fill in those slots because there are a lot of applicants every year. A lot of applicants.
yeah. Well, I can, well, tell me, please. I can imagine this, but uh, I see one benefit of coming to Japan as opposed to, for example, going to, let's say, somewhere in the Middle East, especially right now, but would be the proximity to the Philippines. I mean, it's only a couple of hours, maybe, of a time difference, and relatively easy to fly back and forth if you need to,
That's
right?
right. Yeah. Um, and also, um, why I decided to work in Japan, not only because of my interest for, well, their culture, um, but also when when I come back to the Philippines, I can use my Japanese language skills for other jobs like, teaching Japanese or call centers with, Japanese clientele, translation jobs. So that's also one thing I considered when I entered the EPA program. I really wanted to be proficient in Japanese and to be in that position where I can use my Japanese skills at work, um, and also not to be afraid to go back home because I know there will be employment opportunities for me.
That's good to know. Hey, speaking of potentially going back home, I heard from a friend from Europe who lives in the Philippines that there are very few older people in the Philippines, especially compared to Japan. Is this true?
Mhm. Well, I think it's because comparing to Japan, Japan really has a lot of elderly people. Like when I first came to Japan, there's like, where's the young people? Like, all I can see are older people in the supermarket, in the train. Well, well, comparing to that, Philippines has a lower number of older people. Yeah, and also because of the mortality rate, and you
Yeah.
know. Mhm.
Well, I heard though that I mean, the person that told me this is actually fairly old. I think she's in her 80s and healthy. But one nice thing she told me about the Philippines and being an older person in the Philippines is the tremendous respect that she is shown by Filipino people. So, for example, when waiting in line for a bus, or getting on a bus, people get up and give you this your seat, and they let you go first. Is this generally the case?
Well, I'm glad to know that she has a good experience in the Philippines. I'm really happy to know that. Um, yeah, I think it's just common courtesy to let an older person to sit on the bus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
okay. So, you know what? I'm not sure, like I was worried about at the beginning, that we're actually connected to our listeners, but we'll still make the reporting available. Uh, to finish out here, uh, maybe if you have any thoughts about, do you have like any wishes that more people in Japan understood about foreign caregivers? Is there anything that you would want to teach them that they probably don't know about your experience and other foreign caregivers?
Mhm. Well, I would I would like them to um you know uh to also remember that their their experience with foreigners are not do not apply to everyone. Like, um, for example, if you encounter a a foreigner with bad manners, for example, that doesn't apply to every foreigner in Japan, especially those who are working and residing here. Um, yeah, a lot of us are working hard, are trying to remain, inconspicuous. We don't want to attract attention. We just want to have a peaceful life. And just like them, we're just, um, trying to survive and sending money to our families. And yeah, we, mm, yeah, I would just like them to consider that for a moment, and then not all gaijins are, you know, bad people. And we just want to contribute to the society as well. Yeah, so, mm,
I
I
could not agree with you more. Very well put. And then the last question. So, if you were counseling or talking to somebody similar to you back in the Philippines about the potential for coming to Japan to work as a caregiver, what advice would you give? Well, first of all, would you recommend the experience? But if you do, what would you tell them?
mhm. Well, I still would very much recommend, um, working in Japan and also in my particular program, which is the EPA program. My advice would be to study Japanese very
Yeah,
diligently, um, because there's only so much you can do, um, looking at your phone and
Mm,
looking at the dictionary every time. Um, yeah, just study Japanese and also remember that you are not in your own country. So um, the things that you are used to do
mm,
comfortably in your own country, maybe examine it and be mindful of your own actions. And I cannot emphasize more about personal space. And
mm.
yeah, just be very mindful of your own actions. Yeah, that would be one of my tips. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is great. Anna, what a wonderful conversation. I have learned a lot about what you're doing, the program, your future, and how it relates, though, to the bigger picture of quote unquote immigration, the whole policy issue in Japan. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. I'm sure our listeners will appreciate this too.
Mhm.
The recording will be out within 24 hours. Maybe as a final note, if you could leave any message to the people listening.
Mm. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Mark, for providing this platform and for, being a voice to people like me who, who don't get to talk about this every day. And message for listeners, well, what can I say? Just be kind. Be kind to your be kind to everyone. Yeah. Maybe may they be foreigners or for Japanese people. Be kind to everyone. And what else? One thing that I noticed with myself is that, it's easy um to be consumed by social media. It's so easy on the threads to look at comments, bad comments about foreigners and stuff. I say maybe lay off from that social media for a while and consume um, more quality content uh, that would help uh, just just your mental health, like Substack, for example,
I
like
couldn't have said it better myself.
like
Good, thank
Mark's
you.
content, for example. Yeah.
Okay. Hold that message. Very good. Well, thank you. And on that note, it doesn't get any better than that. We will end the conversation today. But thank you again for joining us. And I wish the best of luck for you in the future. And I look forward to staying in touch via Substack. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching and or listening to another story from the Read My Lips series of podcasts on Real Gaijin. Tell us what you think and be sure to tune in again next time.